As the CEO of a big publicly traded corporation, I found great resonance in Lilly's experience. "We may be paying women less than men," two female Salesforce executives told me in 2015. Salesforce, in my opinion, is among the very few IT firms that genuinely prioritize gender equality. We weren't as far along as I had assumed, though. Following a comprehensive audit that examined each employee's pay, we discovered notable pay inequalities. That marked a sea change for Salesforce. We acted right away, spending $3 million to fill in the gaps we saw. Since then, we've kept up our routine audits, especially following the acquisition of other organizations, and we have invested $22 million in this process as of 2022 to guarantee pay equity at Salesforce. Fixing the issue once is not enough. It concerns ensuring that equality is operationalized as a fundamental principle of our business. A year after our first encounter, I was with Lilly once more when Salesforce gave her an Equality Award in recognition of her bravery and vision. She also gave a speech at our organization's yearly Dreamforce. That occasion was made even more memorable by the fact that Vicky was able to tell her mother about the joy before she died. We learned from Lilly Ledbetter that equality requires fighting for it with purpose and tenacity. It does not just happen when we declare our commitment to it. In addition to changing laws, her willingness to question the status quo helped usher in a new era of corporate accountability. Lilly deserves a debt of appreciation from executives like me. She demonstrated to us that if we take advantage of the chance, business can be the most effective platform for change. Her legacy will endure in each paycheck that embodies equity, and in any business that emulates her. We have a duty to do the task for her. After 19 years of employment at a tire plant in Alabama, Lilly Ledbetter received an anonymous note stating that her salary was up to $2,000 less per month than that of men in the same leadership position. In 1999, Ms. Ledbetter filed a sex discrimination lawsuit in federal court in Alabama, and a jury found her liable for damages and back pay totaling over $3 million. On appeal, however, the ruling was overturned. Unfazed, she took the issue all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, which in 2007 also dismissed her case, stating that it was too late and that she needed to have brought the claim within 180 days after getting her first salary that wasn't fair, referring to a limited legal understanding. According to Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's forceful dissent, it was nearly impossible for Ms. Ledbetter to have been aware of her unjust compensation at that point. Birthplace of Lillian Feldman in 1927. She has 13 siblings. Her mother was a homemaker and her father was a barber. She recalled that anti-Semitism compelled her parents, who were Jewish and impoverished, to relocate to the neighboring suburb of Clifton. However, discrimination against Feldman and her family persisted even there. The words "Jew dog" were painted on the stomach of their dead dog. Feldman's mother was influenced by the atrocities in this household to let her children skip school one day a week. Feldman wrote on her home's walls and used leftover dough to create sculptures during that period. In 13, she began working in a clothes boutique in Newport, Kentucky, taking the bus there on Saturdays to support her family. Despite recalling that she was squeamish and occasionally fainted in the presence of blood, she enrolled in nursing school and the U.S. Cadet Nurse Program when she was 16 years old. She met Jack Schwartz, the doctor she would eventually marry, one day while she was working at a pharmacy. In 1948, she and he relocated to U.S.-occupied Japan. She got polio the following year. She studied calligraphy and meditation with a Zen Buddhist master while paralyzed. She once remarked, "I learned to paint in my mind before putting one stroke on paper. I discovered how to hold a brush in my hand, focus, and practice until my hands stopped shaking. Creating in my head proved to be a valuable technique for me years later when working with computers," she would later explain, referring to this as the inspiration behind her computer art. There wasn't much in the beginning. Graphical hardware and software. She studied painting in the 1950s after returning to the United States, but as soon as she discovered the conventional techniques, she felt the need to separate from them in the seclusion of her own workplaces. Next, in the 1960s, she started making sculptures out of cement and copper, occasionally adding backlighting and laminated paintings. She made her breakthrough in 1968 when she displayed the sculpture Proxima Centauri at the Machine as Seen at the End of the Mechanical Age exhibition at the Museum of Modern Art. The sculpture was created in partnership with Purbjorn. Was made up of a plastic dome that, when spectators stood on a device that activated the piece, seemed to disappear into its base. After it passed, a hidden ripple tank would move up and down to produce patterns for the observer to see. She created the piece for a contest run by Experiments in Art and Technology, a project started by Billy Kluver and Robert Rauschenberg. People outside the art world started to pay attention. In the same year, Schwartz was invited to visit Bell Labs, his workplace in New Jersey, by Leon D. Harmon, a researcher who focused on perception and computer technology. Inspired by what she had witnessed, Schwartz started working there and stayed until 2002. Former Air Force General and CIA agent Richard V. Secord passed away on Tuesday. He was the logistician in the Iran-Contra scandal, which shocked the Reagan administration by selling illegal weapons to Iran to help right-wing insurgents in Nicaragua. He was 92. From Port Orange, Florida, just outside of Daytona Beach, his family sent a statement announcing his passing. He had lately been residing in an assisted living home in that region, though it was not stated where he passed away. The only successful prisoner rescue during the Indochina War was thought to have been carried out by Mr. Secord, a highly decorated fighter pilot who flew 285 missions in Vietnam and led the CIA's covert air war in Laos to disrupt Hanoi's Ho Chi Minh Trail supply route. He also once oversaw the defense of a mountaintop radar site against a large number of North Vietnamese regulars. Mr. Secord came out of Iran-Contra with a reputation as a dishonest guy who allegedly earned millions of dollars in commissions, a reputation he maintained until his death. He entered a guilty plea to a felony. He was placed on probation for lying to Congress. Additionally, prosecutors described him as a silent collaborator of Edwin P. Wilson, a rogue CIA agent who sold tons of plastic explosives to Colonel Muammar al-Gaddafi, the leader of Libya, and served more than 20 years in prison. Mr. Secord retired as a Major General in the Air Force and resigned as Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense in 1983 amid the suspicions surrounding the Wilson scandal. He then embarked on another clandestine endeavor as a civilian, secretly arranged by Mr. Secord's buddy, Marine Lieutenant Colonel Oliver L. North, who served as the National Security Council's Deputy Director of Military Affairs under President Ronald Reagan. According to investigators, the covert project made about $47 million over a number of years from the illegal sale of weapons to Iran. In defiance of a congressional order, it then used a portion of the proceeds to provide weapons, medicine, and other supplies to the Contras, guerrilla forces fighting to topple Nicaragua's elected leftist Sandinista government.